Hi everyone. This is a quick overview of what you'll be doing for your final library research assignment, which is a lot of what you'll be doing for this course in Unit 3. So this is a pretty long document, and I'm just going to kind of give you a bird's eye view, but as you're working through each stage of the research project week by week, I think you'll find it helpful to just come back to this document and look at the specific, tasks that you have to do for that week. Okay, so what will be your topic for this big research project? The first thing you need to do is choose your topic. And I'm asking everyone to look at a problem facing one of the world's coastal forests. And this semester, we're focusing on coastal forests in particular because that relates to our common reading, which is about sea level rise. So I've got some questions here that you can ask as you get started. You can read those questions on your own. Now, I do want to say, if anyone really has their heart set on doing a forest that's not a coastal forest, for example, like if you wanted to do something up here in the Appalachians, let me know what your other topic idea is, and it's possible that I might say yes. I wouldn't mind if a few people did something that wasn't coastal. So I really just want you to be happy with your topic. I want you to be super curious about it. I want you to find it fascinating so that you'll really find the project to be meaningful for you. Okay, so like most things in first year seminar, we're looking simultaneously to develop some skills and to develop some knowledge. So some of these skills you might already have a little bit from high school, maybe even a lot of these skills from high school, but it really doesn't matter where you're coming into this from. I will guide you from the very first step and sort of hold your hand through the whole process if you haven't done this kind of thing before. And if you have, it's just a chance to keep honing your skills and getting better at it. So you'll learn how to search for quality information on the internet, how to tell a good source from a low quality source. You'll learn how to use the library's databases, especially to search for what we call a peer-reviewed article. If you haven't read a peer-reviewed article before, you'll find out what those are and why they're important. Then once you've found good sources, you'll learn how to cite them properly, you'll learn how to base a good argument on your sources, and you'll learn how to communicate what you found both in writing and in speaking. And then as far as the knowledge that you'll gain, that really depends on the topic that you choose. Last semester, some students worked on the coast of North Carolina and learned more about their own home. Other students worked on coasts around the world on completely different continents and learned about things that are far away. And then in the final presentations, everybody just learns from each other. Okay, so the rest of this document is split into what I call tasks and then criteria. So tasks is basically what you need to do presented as a timeline, so week by week. So in week 11, you're selecting your research topic. That's March 29th through April the 2nd. And you actually don't need to turn in anything this week except to participate in your little discussion forum interaction as you do each week. And that'll just be giving each other a few tips on your topics as you get going. So since you're finishing up exam 2 this week as well, just start thinking about what you might want to work on. Start doing some simple Google searches on your own. And I'm going to assign you a couple of the library modules. I'll explain those more on the weekly checklist. And those are, little lessons that the library puts up that teaches you how to start searching for sources and how to narrow down your topic. Okay, so that's week 11. And then week 12, April 5th through 9th, you'll prepare your annotated bibliography. Now, this is a really important step. It's worth just as many points as the actual paper draft and the final papers. So, not everyone has done an annotated bibliography before. It's a great intermediate step between finding your sources and actually starting to write. In any of your classes, I advise you to do an annotated bibliography before you sit down to start writing a research paper. So what this is it's a list of your sources, but underneath each source, you write a little paragraph about what's in it, why you've chosen it, why it's important to you. That makes sure that you've actually read the source, you've digested what's in it. You're showing me that on this bibliography, but it's also a way for you to kind of be sure that you're really integrating material in your mind as you find it. And I'll say a little bit more about what the bibliography looks like when we get to the criteria, and there will also be a sample posted online on As You Learn, so you can use the sample as a model, and then I'll post a little video talking you through how to do it. So again, this is just kind of giving you the overview here, and you'll get a lot more details as we go. Okay, so at this point, you've done your topic proposal, you've done your bibliography, and now it's time to sit down and write the paper. So you've got a week to prepare your first paper draft. And again, I'm going to put up a model on As You Learn, and the model is basically there to show you the overall format with the parenthetical citations throughout the paper where you cite your sources as you go, which is very important, and then the bibliography at the end. And the topic just so happens to be on monarch butterfly migration, but that's just a topic that I've developed for earlier classes. My sample is not specifically about coastal forests, but I decided to put this up because that way what I put up in the sample paper won't be the same thing as what one of you decides to write about. Okay, and again, I'll give you a recording when the time comes. Now, as far as feedback, I'll grade your bibliographies as fast as I possibly can, but I do those, in detail. So you might not necessarily get the feedback on the bibliography until, say, 2 days before the paper draft is due. But usually, when I give you feedback on the bibliography, it's just like correcting basic things about the format, reminding you to have the sources in alphabetical order, usually things that you could fix in just an hour. So, hopefully you'll get that feedback in time to turn in your paper draft by the due date. If you're caught in a time crunch, it's fine to turn in the draft a couple days late. That is no problem. Okay, then I would like you to have your paper draft done and the bibliography done before you give your oral presentation to the rest of the class. That way we know that you've really mastered the best material that's out there. So the oral presentations, which will be sort of the last formal thing that you all do together, will be 5-minute presentations on Flipgrid, and it'll be up to you whether you show your face or not. And I've given you dates there to upload the oral presentations by and a time frame for commenting on others. And I thought it would be fun just to kind of help you get to know others in the group besides your small discussion groups. I'm asking you to comment on 6 students who are not in your regular group. So that gives you a chance to get to know some new people. Okay, then again, I'm moving quite a ways ahead here, but getting to finals week, Thursday of finals week, which is May 6th, will be my final deadline for you to hand in all outstanding work for this course. And, again, this semester, because of COVID, you can turn in anything up until this point. If you want to go back and do assignment 2 and turn it in during finals week, you can do that. It's okay. After Thursday, though, I can't guarantee that I'll have time to grade anything new that comes in because I have to start calculating the final grades. So if you think you can't get something in by Thursday at midnight, please let me know. And as long as only a couple of students ask me for that, I might be able to grade some extra things that come in over the weekend. But don't count on that because it just sort of depends on my schedule and how many people need that extension. Okay, and then don't forget, and I will post a deadline for this on As You Learn eventually, but by finals week, you need to have the 2 common reading event reports done, or like I said in my video about the Flipgrid hiking thread, either 2 common reading event reports or 1 common reading event report and some participation in the hiking thread. Okay, so again, the way I've written this long assignment is that, okay, I've just told you all the deadlines for everything, kind of the time frame, and now I'm going to come back to those same stages and give you details about exactly what to include in each one of those weeks, the things that you turn in. So your topic proposal is worth 25 points, and it's very easy to do. It's a 1-page summary of your proposed topic, including the location of your forest and or name of plant or animal species that you're going to look at, and the central problems that you're going to address. And again, I'm going to put up a model topic proposal, a sample, so you can see exactly how the sample is written. You don't need to cite your sources for this. It's just a general overview. Don't worry about bibliography. Technically speaking, you could write a topic proposal only having looked at one source, and I will never know the difference. But I just want you to identify what you're the most curious about, and then you'll be sort of, working with that for the next few weeks. And just to keep things consistent from one student to the next, I'm saying everything should be double-spaced in Times New Roman 12 point. Okay, then the annotated bibliography worth 75 points, so that's a lot. And that's going to be 2 pages in what we call MLA citation format. If you've taken the English class where they go over MLA, you'll be ahead of the game because you can use exactly what your English teacher taught you in this class. And I'll give you a video explaining more about that. I won't go into that right now. An annotation is a short paragraph summarizing each source and why it's important for your project. Again, there'll be a model on As You Learn. Now, this next thing is important, and I haven't said it yet, so pay attention. In your bibliography, you need to have at least 5 sources, including these specific types of sources. You need to have at least 1 recent news article. You need to have at least 1 peer-reviewed academic journal article. And if you don't know what that is, there'll be a library module that will explain to you what a peer-reviewed article is. Then you need 1 website that's high quality. And then for your 4th and 5th sources, it can be whatever you want. If you want more peer-reviewed articles, you can have more of those. If you want more websites, you can have more of those. If you want something like a video or an artwork, those could be 4th and 5th sources as well. Okay, so now you've found your sources, you've read your sources, you've done your little paragraph summary of each one. It's time to sit down and write your first draft. So that's worth 75 points. And I'm asking you this semester to write 3 to 5 pages, not counting the bibliography. Now, 3 pages is plenty to earn yourself an A. If you're shooting for an A in the class, you do not need to write 5 pages. 3 is fine as long as they're high quality. Once in a while, a student gets carried away and writes extra. I think that's great. It shows that you love your topics. So if you want to write more, you can, but you don't have to. And then bibliography at the end, in-text citations throughout the body of the paper. I'll explain what those are when the time comes. And then the rest is sort of what you would expect for a good quality research paper. And this last point here, I want to emphasize, I'm calling this a first draft, but you should really try hard to write it as if it was the final paper. I'm looking for you to try to write the whole paper the best that you can. So I'm not looking for you to turn in a page and a half, like something that's just halfway done. Try to make it full length and really do your best with it, because that way, when I give you feedback, I'll be giving you feedback on things that you didn't already know. Like if you turn in something that's half finished and then I say, hey, you need to add more length to this. Well, you already knew that, you just didn't get it done. So try to write the whole thing. And if you turn in a first draft that's really, really good already, your revised version that's due finals week could take you as little as half an hour or so. Some of the best papers, the students do almost nothing to revise them. So that's like your reward for working hard on the first draft. That said, though, if you just don't have time to make your first draft as good as you want it to be, please go ahead and just turn it in anyhow. Something partial is way better than nothing at all, and I can work with that, and we can keep, pushing it ahead for you on the final version. Okay, so next, your oral presentation, which is worth 75 points. So again, this is 5 minutes long, and for copyright reasons, since we're putting these up on Flipgrid, I don't think you should include video content from other sources. When we do this face-to-face, I encourage that, but I think for Flipgrid, it's not the best thing. But feel free to include images. Feel free to include your creative project, for example, as part of your oral presentation as a way to reach the 5 minutes. But I haven't really seen students generally having trouble talking about their projects for 5 minutes if you really have written 3 pages on it. Okay, and I'll talk about your creative project in a moment, or actually maybe I'll do that on a different video, but you'll be doing a creative project in Unit 3 as well, and that can either be on the same subject as your research paper, or it can be something completely different. So for the oral presentation, if you want to present just your library research, that is fine. If you want to present just the creative projects, that's fine. If you want to mix the two together, the library research and the creative project, you can also do that. And again, the best thing is to email me if you have any questions about that, because this really, by the time we get to the end, it's quite individualistic depending on the student, and that's a good thing because this is where I want you to really be doing your own thing. Okay, and then style of your oral presentation. You aim it at an audience that doesn't know anything at all about the topic. Pretend that you're talking to total beginners, kind of like in those FIRE presentations that you did earlier in the semester. Do practice your timing in advance. That's just good practice for the future. Anytime you have to give a talk in public, it's often hard to know exactly how much or how little you're saying unless you practice ahead of time. And then I know some of you really hate showing your face on Flipgrid, so I'm not going to require that. If you want to just talk the way I'm doing right now without your face, that's fine. And then you'll give each other feedback. That's pretty self-explanatory. Okay, then the last thing that you do is turn in your revised paper, which needs to incorporate the feedback that I gave you on the first draft. And that's really important. Even if your first draft got an A, you still need to incorporate my feedback to get an A on the revision as well. And again, if there's not many revisions to make, you might be able to incorporate my suggestions in 20-30 minutes. That's often the case, but you do need to do it. Okay, and then lateness, like with everything in the course, due dates are flexible. Now, once we get to finals week, though, I'm kind of up against the wire because I have to get final grades in. So if you give me something like a bibliography or a paper draft in finals week, the problem is that then I have to get you back your feedback in time for you also to write the revision before the final, deadline and when I have to get my grades in. So if you reach the beginning of finals week and you feel like you're way behind, please get in touch with me and we'll see what we can work out for your individual situation. Okay, now I know that this document is pretty technical, a lot of sort of rules and instructions, but once you get into the essence of your topics, the forests that you're looking at, the fascinating questions that you'll discover, we'll all learn a lot from each other. You really become the class expert on the topic that you've chosen, and you become the teacher. At this point, you're sort of teaching all the rest of us about what you've discovered. I always learn a lot from you. Final projects from one semester often become something that I integrate into the course the next semester. So, I keep growing and the course keeps growing thanks to your contributions to this research seminar. Okay, so I hope that this was helpful to you, and please be in touch if you have any questions, and good luck with getting all the work in.